you already beat the Wakanda DLC for Avengers?
I did. I liked it, man. It was fun.
I was not paying attention at all to the story during the entire play, so
No?
I have no idea what happened.
Okay, so do you want me to
I
like break it down for you?
I mean, if you can
I
break it down in
I
bullet
kind of
points.
play. I kind of paid more attention. Like I'm not gonna lie. I also had children in the house that were watching me play. So like I sometimes had to turn around and be like, "Hey, shut up!" Like shit happens. But
Mm-hmm.
so
The
Claw.
gist of I was gonna say the gist of what I got
Okay.
was bad things happen. Avengers show up. You find out it's Claw. Gotta fight Claw. Claw die.
I mean that is a pretty good estimate of what
Okay.
happened. But yeah, he's trying to steal vibranium as Claw does,
Mm-hmm.
and this time he's got AIM to help him because of course he does, and
Aim and crossbones.
and Crossbones, yeah, who's which could be one and the same. We don't really know.
Yeah. We don't know.
Uh, Speaking of, what did Crossbones typically have a Ghost Rider esque power set in the?
I was gonna say there was it that last fight you do against
Yeah,
Giga
he just
Claw?
went flamey
And
head for no fucking reason.
yeah, and I was like, wait, what the hell? Why's your head on fire?
Like, all right, it looks cool. Like, it's very Ghost Rider. Maybe this is a hint. Like, I don't
I
know
doubt.
what their plans are. It's probably not. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I mostly because of the gameplay and the new biome to play in. Like, the story
Yeah, I was
was
gonna say I
okay.
enjoy I enjoy Black Panther's moves and everything. It was pretty fun.
Right, I'm still leveling him up. Uh, but I've read through the skill tree and I've already got an idea for the build I want in mind. And I'm not gonna lie, I might be bouncing from Black Panther back to Hawkeye a lot because I've
Mm-hmm.
been really digging the combat for T'Challa and can't wait to like level him up to really start digging into it because
Mm-hmm.
his moveset looks like it's gonna be really fun once it's all maxed out.
Yeah, I've got the first tree and everything already maxed out and everything. So
See, I haven't even gotten through all that. I've been kind of picking and choosing things from the first two pages. Like I've got a bunch of
oh.
the first main things done, but
Mm-hmm.
I started picking and choosing from like the gadget specialty stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which like the throwing knives and like the spear, different types of spears, playing around with those. Like I really enjoy the
The
effort they've been putting into these characters
the
in
dagger
terms of
combo is
combat.
pretty fun.
Oh yeah, have you gotten the one where it comes back and hits him again?
I don't know. I just like
Oh,
that I can charge it up and then hit the trigger like 3 more times, and he throws out like a variation of different daggers.
I've got it to where if you hold it and charge, it does this different kind of dagger
Yeah,
that flings at him and it
it's like a
targets him.
boomerang.
But I've upgraded that so it hits him, flies away, and comes back and hits the dude again. It's great.
Oh, that's funny.
It's my favorite move. Second to probably jumping from a very high place and just squashing a dude to maul his face. Like I love doing that. That's pretty great.
Oh, yeah, the pounce ability is pretty interesting.
hmm Yeah, once you upgrade it more, you can pounce on pretty much anybody, like through
Mm-hmm.
shields and shit. It's great.
Oh, and
Uh,
big old dump loaders and whatnot.
do you think they're gonna have Spider-Man be a timed release instead of just PS4, PlayStation exclusive? Because I personally hope so, being Xbox, but I don't really see it happening. But you might know more than I
Um,
do.
I have no idea. I I would guess so, but I don't know.
I hope so because I love Spider-Man, and
I think
I
I think making
mean,
him an exclusive was retarded as hell, though.
like timed exclusive, I could be down with that. It's but knowing Sony probably won't be.
Nope.
Unless they can make some kind of deal with Microsoft to get some of their Bethesda shit.
Because
Like
I
that's
mean,
the
you look at the lifespan of a game like this, and then you try to throw in a timed exclusive, which is usually like 6 months to a year. Like
yeah,
the interest
minimum
drops off a cliff.
minimum 3 months, and that's rare.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I'm glad to see
whew,
it's getting weeded out though, but
yeah, but I do think that this expansion, at least for the sake of the what it's given and the fact that it's a free DLC, I think it's just a really good step forward for, admittedly, a kind of really crappy first year for Marvel's Avengers, which is a game that I do enjoy. I just, God,
yeah.
they screwed up so many times.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think they're in slightly better waters than CD Projekt Red right
Slightly.
now, though.
Oh, do tell. Do tell.
Oh, oh. So you know how the release of Cyberpunk 2077 went, right? You remember that
I
whole
do.
fiasco?
I
Okay.
do indeed.
Have you
I am
played
the
it?
proud owner. I am the proud owner of Cyberpunk 2077 on Xbox One,
It's
and I do
insane.
know how that launch went and how it still plays to this day, which is
Mm-hmm.
okay on good days.
Yeah, it's got its
It
moments.
it's playable, but
So
mostly.
they had a live stream yesterday or so, or day before maybe. Um, a live stream to show off patch 1.3, which they had claimed was going to be their biggest patch yet, and it's going to fix so many of these issues that the community has been complaining about, and yada yada.
Sounds great.
Everything could have been summed up in an email.
Was it
It
that
like
bad?
it was embarrassing.
Wow. So, like, can
So
you give me a brief summarization of what
so
they
essentially
did?
essentially they are patching some of the fixes that the mod community on PC has already got to. But they kept every time they talked about it, they kept saying, it's easy to do on PC, but it's what's time consuming figuring it out on console and yada yada. It's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think there was a stability issue that they were fixing. Um, it was a lot of little fixes though, for the most part,
So
like
nothing
UI
like
stuff.
game changing
Nothing game changing. No, they didn't add in
other
any
than
extra
Keanu's
features.
Marathon.
Yeah, so they didn't add in any extra features or abilities or whatever. And this, when did this game drop? Like
A year
Sept-
ago?
September?
I think so. September,
Um,
November?
let's see, September 17th, 2020. Yeah.
Okay.
So the game has a strong fan base online. Player activity is minimal, and so along with
When you say minimal, like what's minimal?
the
Is there a
people
month?
who are
Is there a
active
number?
on it, I would say the people who are active on it at the most are probably a handful of people on consoles because it re-released on the PlayStation Store, so that helps some of its traffic, but I'm not sure it did much. I haven't heard much about it. Um, but I mean, on PC, you've got the mod community who's working their ass off for free, adding in, fixes and, quality of life stuff and whatever they can do with the assets that they can grab and making the game better in a faster time than the company that made the game.
Which, can we just take a second to shout out to the modding community on PC, because there has been some of the coolest shit that I've seen in some of the favorite games of mine come out of the mod community. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the giant. Oh, what was it called? They had a Skyrim mod that was made a while back that was
Macho
massive,
Man?
to where it was like,
Oh.
well, the Macho Man mod cannot be overlooked. But hold on, I'm looking it up right now because there was a giant one where it was like a whole new
It was like
map
an
and
overhaul.
story. No, it was like an expansion onto the game, and it was made by a small team, I believe. I'll have to find it and send
Yeah.
it to you because it was really really cool. But
Yeah, I mean that was something I was gonna harp back to is the mod community on PC, especially for games like Skyrim and Fallout. Fallout
oh yeah,
New Vegas still has a very active modded community, and the game is still very much alive. And it's ridiculous because that game came out 20. Oh God, I want to say 2013, but I could be wrong.
the PC modding community has access to multiplayer Just Cause 4, and I will be forever envious of that. I
Yeah,
personally love those games, and the fact that the
yeah.
PC modders figured out how to implement multiplayer breaks my heart because I'm a console guy. I don't have a PC, and like modding is one of those things that console guys don't, or console players, I should say, don't have access to until we got Skyrim Special Edition and Fallout 4, which gave us a
Mm-hmm.
taste, and that taste was like a drip feed. It's like, okay, I want more. I want to be able to mod
I
other
was gonna
games.
say, yeah, and even then you can only get so much because the console memory and RAM can't handle everything you want to download.
Yeah, and you got to stack that shit and make sure you got it done right. Otherwise, it screws your whole game. And like, I
Yeah.
remember when it first launched, we kept sending memes, or not memes, but videos back and forth of stupid mods and shit. Like, you had that Macho Man one for Fallout where it replaced the Death Claws that was hilarious. I
Oh
think you
God, it was
sent
so
like
great.
5 videos of different times you got like snuck up on by a Macho Man Death
It
Claw. It
was
was
so
great.
great. It gave that game so much life, and that game Fallout 4, like the base game by itself, trash. Don't like it.
Yeah.
I played through it. It was okay, but the mods make it so much better.
See, and I agree, but I went the other route with my mods to where like I gave better bullet physics and
Hmm.
excuse me, I turned all the zombies into like walker zombies because those are my favorite.
Yeah, I
Like I
did
turned
too.
it into more of a horror game.
That's what I did. I mean, I still
Like
kept the Macho Man mod, but I treated the game essentially after all the mods that came out because a bunch of the modders started adding like SCP monsters.
oh
I
god,
mean, it's not. I'm gonna be nice and say it's not an official SCP, but somebody did throw it into the archives. Siren Head, if you know who that is.
really? I
Yeah,
I have
they
not played the games, but
implemented
I do know who Siren Head is.
somebody modded in Siren Head into Fallout, and
Please tell me it's in
that
Far Harbor
uh was that
because
Fallout
that would be
4
the
or was
perfect
that Fallout 3?
Fallout 4.
Okay, yeah. No, like you can find them in like the base map.
Oh, okay, wow. Far
Yeah,
Harbor would be
yeah.
perfect for him though. Have you played Far Harbor?
Oh yeah, yeah. I played all the DLCs. I just couldn't remember
The
which DLCs
god
for
awful
what.
radioactive with that god awful
Yeah.
radioactive fog.
Hmm.
Mm.
But yeah, like I did the same thing with the zombies and or I guess the ghouls. I essentially modded it to make it like a horror SCP kind of universe with like random creatures and shit that I had to hunt and simulation mods that kind of made it a little bit more enjoyable.
Same. Like I overhauled all the factions and stuff, made them more malicious, and like
Hmm.
it was pretty neat. You still have to deal with Preston Garvey showing up and telling you about a settlement in danger, but
The
how he
settlement needs
finds
your
you,
help.
anywhere you go, it's a mystery. He's probably one of the, what do they call the androids in the game?
A
I
synth?
forget. The synth. He's probably a synth.
Yeah, probably. As soon as you leave the main outpost, he just follows you.
Yeah, dude.
Every time.
Speaking of crazy RPGs, there's one I got into, and I haven't been able to play it a lot lately.
Hmm.
But it's Biomutant. Have you seen anything on that?
Very little bit. I've seen a couple friends play it, but I never got around to trying it myself.
It's an interesting game because there's no dialogue, obviously, because you're not playing as human characters. They have this little gibberish kind of language, but you have a
Right.
narrator, and he talks a lot, but you can actually turn the narrator specifically down in the menus, and not in terms of volume, turn down his frequency. Um, but it's a neat little RPG playing as this little critter going around and having to deal with these tribes, and the open world's really cool, and like the gear you can find is neat. But my favorite part is right at the beginning where you have like this flashback vision, right? And everybody that talks is kind of like Sims talk, like
Oh
Simish,
God.
whatever. So it's kind of like just
Yeah.
gibberish, right? But you have this flashback to the before. There is one, and it's all like anthropomorphic animals, right? So like
Right.
bipedal animals, and there's one you walk up to him and
Furries.
he's got a leather jacket on. He's got Fonzie-ish hair with the coif and sunglasses and shit. He's dressed like a greaser, right?
Mhm.
And you walk up, and that's funny enough. It's like, hi, he's dressed like Fonzie. And then instead of the normal gibberish, he talks like, ho, 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 ho. And it
Oh
is the
God.
funniest shit. I wasn't ready
Oh
for it.
my God.
I wasn't ready for it. If I'd had a drink, it would have been out my nose. So,
Oh
and there's
Jesus.
little moments like that of just goofy shit
Yeah.
that are random and thrown in there. Like the game's kind of cutesy and goofy anyway, but there's these
Yeah.
moments of just so absurdity that throw you for a really good time. It's definitely worth a look if you can find if it ever comes to Game Pass or something. I mean,
I
it's
thought it
definitely worth
was.
checking out. I don't think it's on Game Pass. You can check. If it is, download it and check it out because it's really fun. I need to get back into it. Like
I'll
there's
check it
different mounts and stuff that all look like
out.
Muppet rejects and shit. It's great.
Yeah.
What have you been playing lately?
I've been between Avengers and Tom Clancy's Division 2 again. The Back for
Yeah.
Blood beta was a lot of fun.
Was it? I didn't get a chance to do it. Of course, I'm not huge into first person shooters. I like zombie games, but
Yeah.
I never was huge into first person shooters.
No, it's definitely a worthy fun successor to Left 4 Dead, so look
So
forward to when it finally comes out.
was there any hints that like it is definitely part of the Left 4 Dead universe? Like I know it's made by
No,
the same team and everything.
they've already said no, it's not. It's just a
Just a
spiritual,
standalone thing.
yeah, like a spiritual successor of sorts.
Oh, okay. So there was no like in the beta or right? It was a open beta. So there's
It
no.
started as a closed beta where if you pre-ordered, you had early access to it, and then about a week or so later, they opened it up. So,
Oh, okay,
and it
cool.
was like a week-long open beta.
Now,
So,
did you pre-order?
no, I didn't. I don't pre-order anymore.
I
Like,
pre-order like a few days beforehand just to get my hands on shit.
I was gonna say that's kind of what I would do. That's what I did with Cyberpunk, and I was gonna go back to Cyberpunk regarding the mods and stuff. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that's what I did with Cyberpunk, and it was funny because I was telling a couple friends and y'all, and I was probably gonna wait like a week or so, maybe 4 days before the game came out to pre-order. And I think the second to the last delay it had, or the last delay it had, they pushed it, I think, a month or two, maybe 3 months. I could be wrong. Anyways, it was a
I think it
short
was like
span.
2 or 3 months.
Yeah, it was. I think it was supposed to come out on around my birthday, and then it got pushed. So yeah. Um, I remember I was like, yeah, okay, well, game's getting ready to come out. We haven't heard anything, so maybe here in day two, I'll pre-order it. And then the next day, they're like, we're gonna have to delay it. I was like, this
That's
is why I don't
interesting.
pre-order, you dumb dummies, you baboons. So
I'm probably
yeah,
gonna I'm probably gonna wait and do the pre-order like a couple days before for that Guardians of the Galaxy game because the
Oh
pre-order,
yeah,
the cosmetics look cool.
I haven't seen anything else about it other than like the initial gameplay and whatnot.
They released a new cinematic thing that kind of branched off the gameplay trailer they'd given us, the little like 10-15 minute video of gameplay, which is
Oh,
the
okay.
next scene in one of the outcomes of that gameplay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks neat.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But
So,
you wanted to
so I
talk
was
mods.
yeah I was gonna go back to Cyberpunk to finish just to round off what they showed off in the live stream. Essentially, in short, it was just small fixes, no feature implementation. The free DLC that they implemented, which is
Oh.
looking to map out similar to The Witcher 3, where it was like small cosmetic stuff, gear, and whatnot. They did that with this update, and you get 2 new jackets, which look very meh. Um, you get a new car you can have access to.
But you
Uh,
see, here's the thing: is you can't see any of that shit.
no,
It's
you
a
can't.
first-person fucking game.
Yeah, you can't see it unless you're in photo mode or something like that. And
Which I mean, yay, but
yeah,
like, what's the
there's no,
point of having cool ass cosmetics if you can't see your character except for
yeah, and
occasionally?
just to reiterate for the listeners who may have not paid attention to the game, there's no cutscenes where you see your character. Everything is in first person to keep you quote unquote engaged.
Which is cool. Like, I'm fine with
Sure,
that, but
yeah, I'm fine with that too.
having such an emphasis on customization when you have virtually
During marketing, yeah,
no opportunity to see your character. Like, the third person option just would have been nice.
yeah,
Like,
there was a modder
make the
that's
game
trying
for
to
first
implement
person.
third person.
I've seen the footage of that, and it looks good for what he's gotten done. Like, I
Yeah.
get making the game for first person, but
Hmm.
it's not hard to just move the freaking camera back.
Well,
Like,
there's different stuff you got to do, and
well,
I mean,
I'm oversimplifying
overall,
it,
it's
but
not hard, but yeah,
yeah, I'm simplifying it obviously because I'm
yeah.
not a game designer. Like, I'm sure there's a lot more that goes into it, but
Yeah.
come
It
on, if the dude in the modding community was able to do it,
if Fallout and if Bethesda can do it with Skyrim and Fallout, you know.
right? Or like, look at a game like Red Dead. Red Dead's first person to third person
Oh yeah,
transition is fantastic.
oh yeah, that's true.
Like, I actually like, I'm not a first person guy. I don't hate how Red Dead's first person controls are. I actually still feel in control
Mm.
of the character.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel, and maybe that has something to do with like the physics they have, where like your camera is on that bobble of a head, so it
yeah.
still feels like realistic movement. I don't know what the difference is, but I actually
It,
really
it
like.
it needs smoothed out, but for the most part, it's very well done.
Like, and I'm not hating on first person controls because I play Modern Warfare Warzone with you guys periodically.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not very good at it, but I do it. And I
yeah.
like Far Cry. I love those games. Like, I'm super excited for Far Cry 6 with the best villain in modern cinema playing that guy.
Well, see,
He he plays a great
he
psycho.
he plays a great villain. He does.
He is probably one of the best like character villain actors going right now. Like, every time he's cast, even when he plays a nice guy, which I'm sure there's roles out there where he plays nice guy. Giancarlo Esposito, by the way, is who I'm talking about. For anybody who doesn't know, he was Gus on Breaking Bad.
Mm.
Awesome portrayal, wonderful series. If you haven't watched it, watch it like tonight, all of it, 1 through 5. Just gut check, do it.
I will say Vincent D'Onofrio, however you say his name, the guy who played
D'Onofrio?
Kingpin. Yeah, the guy who played Kingpin in Daredevil.
Yeah,
He's
he's up
still
there.
arguably the best MCU villain.
Yeah, he is 100% up, at least top 3. If you can't say first, like, definitely top 3. That'd be an interesting conversation, like who the other two would be. Speaking of him, there's strong rumors that he might be getting to come back as Kingpin in
I
some
think
form or fashion.
I think it's confirmed that he's coming back in.
Please say Spider-Man.
I don't know if it's Spider-Man. I don't think it's Spider-Man.
Well, see, I keep hearing that like the Matt Murdock character is going to be showing up in Jessica Jones, so maybe there. I mean, not Jessica Jones, excuse me, She-Hulk.
I was gonna say, oh,
But she might, Jessica Jones might even show up in She-Hulk. Like they might be using She-Hulk, the Law show, to bring in these law-ish characters. Like
I think Hawkeye.
Private Eye and Lawyer.
I think the Hawkeye show. I think he's supposed to be showing up.
Oh, that would be a fun fight. D'Onofrio's Kingpin and Renner's Hawkeye. Oh, that'd be fun. Watching him beat
or
the
some
shit
sort
out
of involvement.
both of them Hawkeyes. Maybe throw Yelena in that fight too, just to make it even more unfair to Kingpin.
Yeah,
because I loved his fighting style in that show, where it was just giant baby flailing at things.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. He'd be a good villain for Hawkeye. It'll be interesting to see how that gets worked in and whatnot, though.
I would love to see them try to bring back at least the actors that played the Netflix people. Like,
I would love
reboots. That's fine, but like, keep the actors.
Well,
like,
they've already. I was gonna say they've essentially already decanonized the Netflix Marvel shows.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because in the grand scheme of things, they had no effect whatsoever on the movies.
No, not at all. Even when fucking part of New York collapsed.
Yeah, they made small references to them, but that was about it.
Actually, wait, I'm over exaggerating that. It wasn't part of New York. It was like a city block. But still, like, that wasn't referenced anywhere.
No, like I said, it was small references. But you know what? They were better than what we're getting right now. I'll tell you that.
I can't argue with you there. The Daredevil trilogy of seasons is probably the best thing with a Marvel logo that has ever been put out. It, like, the big shit aside. Like,
at one point. Oh, continue.
If you take out the movies, like, for damn sure everything they put on television or the small screen, that's the best thing they've ever put out. And I love this new phase of Marvel that we're in. You know that I've gushed about it, but that is the best shit they've ever made. Period.
They were tapping into something great, and they just shit it all away for this Disney Plus nonsense we're getting.
Well, and I mean, if they just didn't decanonize it and they could keep that there and just keep it going. I mean, obviously that's not what's going to happen, because Netflix will try to get a piece of that pie. But
well, even if, like I said, the decanonization at this point is fine. At one point, I would have been okay with a reboot, but I don't want Disney touching Daredevil. I don't want them touching everything that was good on Netflix, because it's just going to get ruined.
But didn't Disney already own Marvel at that point?
Yeah, they did. But again, at this point now, with what we're getting, I just don't trust them to make it good.
That's the point. But see, that's the point I'm making. Is like, it was already Disney when they put that out.
Yeah, but that was years ago when they did season 1 of Daredevil.
That is true. I mean, shit, it's been years since even season 3.
I was gonna say, you look at the quality of movies around the release of that versus now, and I know we'll mostly disagree, but it has dropped off a fucking cliff.
Well, see, I'll admit that it's not as strong, but I also think, like, this current phase that we're in is the dip. I mean, we just came off Endgame, which was the biggest shit ever, and so there's the question of how do you follow that is you can't. You have to bring it back down. And so, yeah, these stories we get are gonna feel kind of like, okay, so what's the point? Like, they are. I think what we're getting now is the start to something that's going to be big in another 5 to 10 years. Like, we're leading to, like, secret. I don't know. I hope so. Like, but I'm a fanboy. Like,
I hope so too. But
I love the fact that we're getting this shit anyway. like what's it called? I can't remember what they're calling it, but the Star Wars anime that they're putting out.
Visions, I think.
Visions. Yes, I
Yeah,
saw the trailer for that today. Like they put out a thing with actual animation, not just people talking about it.
yeah,
Dude, have you
yeah. It looks
seen
great.
that shit? It looks so good. Like, and if it's canon, like I like more Star Wars. Like, I like this newer trilogy. Yes, it was
That's
not as good as the previous
it
trilogies.
was absolute dog shit. It
It,
was utter garbage trash. It needs to be buried and forgotten.
I think they shouldn't have let Ryan Johnson grab the second one. As much as I enjoyed the second one for all of its quirks, like I think they should have let JJ just do all three. Was there a reason JJ didn't do the second one?
I was gonna say you don't know the Dirties.
If I knew it, I can't recall. So what? Why didn't JJ do the
They
second?
had no plan after the first. Like in terms of a trilogy, they had no outline plan.
Well, see, no, I know that.
JJ
I'm saying,
came in for the first one. He didn't want to do the second one because he said he wanted to spend, or he didn't want to commit to a trilogy because he said it was going to take time away from his family.
bro,
Okay,
you're committing to Star Wars. No shit.
whatever. That's your excuse. You don't want to do it. Okay, but the thing is, there's been times where TV series, for example, you'll have a showrunner and then different directors for different episodes, and it's all mostly coherent storytelling. The
That's true.
fact that they
As
can,
long as
the
there's
fact that
somebody at the top that knows what's supposed to happen, yeah.
the showrunner. I don't know how or what Disney, specifically Kathleen Kennedy, who was picked by George Lucas to overhead everything at Lucasfilm.
Given the
Um,
keys
I,
by the man himself.
I don't know what went through that retard's head to think, hey, you know what? First movie was a bit of a ripoff of what was it? The first Star Wars movie, New Hope. But it did all right. So we're gonna give the second movie to a new guy and let him do whatever the hell he wants without any guidelines. And so the trilogy turned into the most expensive bitch fight Twitter, shit show. It was like, my movie's better than yours. No, it's better than yours.
Which, see, that's the part that's the dumbest to me. It's like, man, you signed up to helm Star Wars. Like, you should have known. You should have come in with a plan because it's fucking Star Wars.
Yeah,
Like,
they admitted openly they had no plan for the trilogy. They wanted to do a trilogy, but they didn't know what they wanted to do, and they made it up as they went along.
see, and that's disappointing. Like, I liked the message that the second one was trying to give out. Like, I appreciated Ryan Johnson's message. I think
I
it's
don't know
partly.
what they were trying to say.
Here's what I think they were trying to say. It's also, I think, the reason they greenlit and then canceled. Ryan Johnson was supposed to get his own trilogy of something, but they canceled that shit. I think the message he was trying to do with the second one was that the Force it doesn't belong to anybody. Like anybody can do it. Anybody could have the Force, not Jedi, not Sith. Anybody. It's who the Force chooses. Like I figured that was the part with the little kid at the end and Rey being a nobody, which I loved the idea of Rey being a nobody. She didn't need to be Palpatine's grandkid. Like it was okay. Like in the grand scheme of things, it's Palpatine being the one at the end kind of makes sense because the
No.
whole 9 films, he's the villain. Darth Vader is a villain, but the whole 9
So
film
why do they
arc.
call it the Skywalker saga?
Well, because they're the heroes of it, I
No.
guess. But he's the villain of the whole thing. Yeah,
So it's a
he's the villain
Palpatine
of the whole
saga.
thing. In the first one, he's the Phantom Menace. In the second one, he starts the Attack of the Clones. In the third one, the Revenge of the Sith, he's the Sith. A New Hope is about Luke fighting against Palpatine. Empire Strikes Back. The Empire is headed up by Palpatine, who we see for the first time. Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi, it's Luke defeating Palpatine, and then this whole new shit,
That
I
would
can't.
make sense if all 6 movies were planned out to be like that, but
It
they
would
were
be.
not.
They weren't, but that's what we have. I mean, that's what they are now.
No,
He's the villain of all of them.
it's stupid.
Okay, you
And
can say that,
for
but
the
that's still what I said is what it is.
I know,
Like, you can
but
say
for the
it's
most
stupid.
part,
That doesn't mean what I
for
said
the
is not
most
true.
yeah, I know that, but for the most part, the fans, even casual Star Wars fans, are beginning to uh, acknowledge that the new trilogy is not canon with them anymore. Like Star Wars ended
Oh,
with
cry me a fucking river. People wanted to shit
okay,
all over the original trilogy too, but that shit was straight from George Lucas's own head, and everybody did that shit when it first came out. Everybody
and it's
dog
still bad.
fans. It's
It's still
still
bad.
decent. It's not as good as the original trilogy, no, but I
No,
think
it's not. But you know
that
what
it's
made it better?
hilarious.
You know what made it more tolerable was the Star Wars Clone Wars movie and TV show. As childish as it was, it gave a little bit more depth to the
That
characters
shit
that
was
we
great.
liked.
Yes, it was.
It gave more depth to the characters, and it, you know, God, what's his nuts that played Anakin?
The
Hayden Christensen. Oh my God! Like his acting was cringe. It was bad.
Yes, but their dialogue also was pretty crap.
Yeah,
I mean,
and you can
you look
beat
at the
George Lucas for
scene.
that.
Yeah, you look at the scene where they're in the freaking that room, where she's dressed in that black skimpy thing, and he's all hot and
Mm-hmm.
they're having that like we can't, but we shouldn't, like that stupid ass conversation.
I've
Every
had thoughts,
line of
Padme.
that is stupid. Like it's
I'm a
dumb
Jedi, but I want
shit.
to smash.
Like if his lines were dumb as shit, that would at least make more sense than hers also being dumb as shit. But Lucas has
Yeah.
said also that he's not good at writing dialogue. Which at the end of the day, it's like if you aren't good at writing dialogue, maybe you should have a
What are you
writer
doing?
next to you and you tell him your ideas.
Well, and that's why what was it? The Empire Strikes Back. That's like the most favored Star Wars movie because he
Yeah?
didn't write the dialogue for that.
No. It's
But the
widely
funny thing
considered
is,
probably the best one of this whole film arc. Like
mm-hmm,
Empire's probably the best one.
yeah, and going back to the new trilogy and the new property of everything, it's all failing. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes the new High Republic BS. Nobody likes the movies. Even Disney themselves, they're slowly decanonizing the characters. They're not selling the toys anymore. They've had to do re-releases of legacy toys from the previous movies. And when you go to the theme park, Galaxy's Edge, the majority of their memorabilia for Star Wars is all legacy. There's very little new trilogy stuff.
Well, there's also very little new in the new trilogy. Her lightsaber is Luke's lightsaber.
Well, I mean,
Until the end where
yeah, but
other than the
there's
new
new
stormtrooper
characters.
weapons and shit.
Yeah, but there's new characters, so you would think those action figures would sell.
I don't know the numbers on them. I would assume they sell.
They're not selling. They're not. They're not selling. They weren't selling. They did okay when the 7th movie came out. I forget its name. But the sales were okay. I think God, I'm blanking on all their names because it's so forgettable.
Well, the seventh one is Empire.
No. The first of the new trilogy.
Force Awakens.
Yeah. The baddie. What's his nuts?
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. Yeah, I think he was the top selling toy or figure and merch and whatnot.
Because he's got that new badass looking lightsaber.
He had the lightsaber, the helmet, and like the whole look. Like kids liked it. He was a popular villain.
Yeah.
But outside of that, not too many people were buying Ray figures. No, they tried to. I think when they did the Last Jedi, that was the one that split the community and fans and whatnot. And they tried to sell Rose Tico toys, couldn't sell them. They I think 2 weeks after the sales went out for sale, they immediately went on discount.
Yeah, there's a
And
thing with that too, is the way that actress was done by the fucking air quotes fans. Like, it's one thing to not like a character, but they bullied that poor woman off of the internet.
that was proven to be false. She didn't get bullied.
No,
Nope.
that happened. Okay,
Nope.
then I retract my statement.
They kept claiming that she got off Twitter because she never said herself that she got off because of fans, if I remember correctly. I mean, of course, you're gonna have people who are gonna say dumb shit, but she got off because there was just too much negativity on the movie itself, and just a lot of stuff going on in her personal life, I believe, and she just quit social media essentially.
Okay. Well, there's still a topic to be discussed about.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same thing that happened with a little kid and the Phantom Menace. Like, he got a lot of hate because everybody's like, "Oh, I don't need to see Anakin. I don't need to see Darth Vader as a kid." Yada yada. And they were sending him death threats and drove him out of having a career. And then he turned into a has-been, and it really sucked.
That's the shit that throws me off about, again, death threat shit. Like with CD Projekt Red, they got death threats for the delays and shit. Like,
yeah,
kiss your own ass.
Do you want them to finish the game or not?
Yeah, man. Like, what is the point? What is it you think that's going to accomplish? Like, that's so stupid. Like, I don't understand the mindset of people that toxic. Like,
yeah, I mean,
what are you getting at?
That's Twitter these days, though. You've got
I'm so glad I'm not on Twitter.
You've got the extremes of polar opposites for the most part. And what's so dumb is Twitter is the least active user base of major platforms.
And yet somehow Twitter is seen as the most important shit.
Yeah, somehow it's seen as the public square. And it's odd.
So
but yeah, so yeah, I just, like I said, going back to Disney ruining things.
Did you get a chance to watch the newest What If yet?
With T'Challa? Yeah, I think I texted you this morning about it, didn't I?
Oh, that's right. Well, I know you had said you had watched the first one, but I saw it. I didn't know if you had seen the second one yet.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't like the second one.
Really?
No, it was dumb. It was so dumb.
Well, I thought it was fun, man. I thought it was that's what ifs are. They're weird.
Nope, that's not what the comic book was.
Okay. Tell me your
depicted. All right. Well, spoilers. If you haven't seen Marvel's What If on Disney Plus,
that released today.
I'm gonna just get into some spoilers about it. It was, what if T'Challa, Black Panther, became Star-Lord? And initially they open up. My issue with it, I think, is literally in the first 2 minutes. It's leading up when the Ravagers come and pick up T'Challa. I can see it happening, the scenario playing out where they get mixed up, whatever. But they decide, oh, we got the wrong kid. All right, let's go. We're not going to get Peter Quill. This isn't Peter Quill. This isn't Ego's, and they specifically reference Ego's kid. That's why they went to Earth to grab Peter Quill.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but even in the main timeline, he never took Peter to Ego anyway. So,
No, he didn't.
like, he
But they
obviously didn't
explain.
give enough of a shit about that job.
Yeah, but they explain in the movies, why he didn't take he didn't take Peter to Ego.
He was small, good for thieving.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, no, he
know,
didn't take him because he. I think it was he figured out what he was doing with all the kids and decided not to take that one.
Yeah, like he wanted to keep Peter around for his thievery and whatnot, and then decided, Ego was a terrible person, and he had better use for for Quill than Ego did. So,
Okay, so
you kind of have to assume with Yondu, these space pirates who eat people, they're not good people.
they're not, but apparently T'Challa is so damn charming. He's able to talk
Yeah.
tyrants out of their genocidal plans.
Yeah,
So
he
yeah,
he
who knows what he was
somehow
able to
he
charm them
he's
into?
somehow so diplomatic, even at such a young age, maybe because they don't go into it. Essentially, the series of shows we're getting of What If is taking a 2.5 hour movie concept and crunching it into 30 minutes. And it is awful.
I've enjoyed it. I thought this episode was fun, giving us a different look. Like Thanos as a good guy was interesting. I did think him getting just manhandled by the Dark Order, right? Not Dark Order. That's
Something.
a tag team. But
No,
I
I
I
don't remember what
feel
they're
like
called.
I feel like they manhandled him too much at the end. Like he should have held his own a little bit better.
You would think so, but nope.
Like this is the same dude that beat the dog shit out of the Hulk without the stones active. But granted, that was also like 10 years later. Like this, I enjoyed the twists, but because that's what ifs are. Is
Yeah,
that
but they were
different?
slightly written better in the comics. I mean, they were far more
Yeah,
goofy and
they were written better, but there was also way weirder shit. And this is apparently the way it's looking, all leading up to some fucking climactic battle at the end with all of them.
also the
And
the
Ego's
series
probably the
is
villain.
canon. The series is canon in
And
the
as in
MCU.
terms of the giant multiverse, yeah. It's very likely we'll see something from this multiverse stuff pop up. Like I'm not betting, but I'm thinking we'll see some kind of Kang reference at some point. That's just what I'm throwing out at some point during these episodes. I'm looking forward to the zombie episode though. Like I loved the Marvel Zombies stuff. I'm curious to see what the trigger was in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like that we
Yeah.
almost had. Like I've seen some theories that it's that vial from Captain America: Civil War that they were fighting over, of that
Oh,
mysterious disease
yeah.
or whatever it was, bioweapon. But so maybe that. But I'm looking forward to it. I enjoyed it. I mean, I
Well,
thought
I
this
was gonna
episode
say
was better
because
than the Captain Carter one.
yeah, the Captain Carter was meh.
Yeah, like it
But
was.
the the writing in this one was just abysmal. Like it was just awful because again, first 2 minutes, space pirates come to pick up a specific target. Hey, we didn't get that specific target. All right, let's go. So they go off, do that. I don't remember what the next part is. Oh, is so the Ravengers go from space pirating, looting, creature
Robin Hood
eaters
characters.
to essentially a band of thieves for good, of Robin Hooders.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, don't you think you need to establish that maybe? Like, we already know who these characters are. We know how they operate, and just all of a sudden they're going to be doing good for whatever
Well,
reason.
well, they jump us from picking up T'Challa to like 20 years later.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
so
that's a
you can.
that's a large gap.
So I mean, again, like, at what point did they decide that they
So
should
you
not do that?
so is the main issue that it's this is the fact that T'Challa was apparently so damn charming. He caused these murderers to turn over a new leaf, and they just glance
We
over
don't know
that.
that he was that charming because we don't know how they turned a new leaf.
Okay, so that is the issues that they didn't show us. Gotcha. Well, but I mean,
It's so far fetched that it's so no, not even that, because it's so far fetched it's unbelievable. Like, you could do something similar to what we got in the Guardians movie and have certain scenarios play out differently, but you can't just flip something like that on its head with no explanation. Because
I mean,
these aren't characters where
he showed him a better way.
I know that, but these aren't like new characters to us. These are established people. We know how they operate, so if they're going off script and doing uncharacteristic things to what we know them as.
I mean, for all his faults, Thanos was a pretty rational dude. He thought what he was doing was right. I mean, if T'Challa could tell him a way he actually thought was better, he probably would take it.
I doubt it.
I mean, he's still really hard pushing that his idea was good. I loved that running gag of like, it's genocide. It's like, no, it's not genocide. It's fair.
Yeah. So, if he's still pushing that idea, what was to stop him from continuing on,
I was waiting for him to snap at some point and just be like, and then he just being a hero the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was everything we got, it was extremely uncharacteristic of established characters that we knew.
But isn't that the point of what if stories?
No.
Okay, then what's the point of what if stories if not to change things?
It's the what ifs.
Show a totally different world.
The what if stories were perspectives of events that would happen differently if just certain events played out differently, not if certain characters acted differently.
Okay, so isn't there
certain established characters?
Okay, so if you take a established character like young T'Challa, who was raised in Wakanda with the way he was raised to be a king, and instead of having this miscreant dude who ends up just being a mop boy at a diner at a Dairy Queen, if that's the kid that goes with these people and shares his views on things, and maybe it is actually I get the thing that we don't see any of this, so it's just boom, now everybody's changed. And yeah, I would have liked to see more of that, but I mean that's the point of the what ifs.
I'll be fair in say that there is a sliver of a chance that a 12-year-old child could convince a guy to change his ways while still
implementing. It's not just any 12-year-old child. It's that specific one. That kid. That T'Challa. Specifically, T'Challa is able to do it.
Whose main focus that we see is he wants to leave Wakanda to go on an adventure.
But we know. But see, if you're going to talk established characters, we know who T'Challa is and the kind of man that T'Challa is.
We know what he is as a man. We don't know what he was like as a child.
No, but you can assume that the man he was raised a certain way and to be a certain kind of person.
Well, that's because he was around his dad, who was a noble person, and he's not around his dad.
He's taken it like 12 or 13 or some shit. Like, he's got all the life lessons that a young man would need. Like, he's already a person.
Are you the same person you were at the same time you were 13 to now?
That is a good point, but I'm also not a Wakandan prince.
I know that, but I mean, your environment and who you're around, especially in your teenage years, affects your outcome as an adult too.
That is true, but I still say there's an argument to be made that T'Challa is a special kind of person.
That's fair. I'll give you that, but it's.
I mean, we are talking about a fictional superhero.
We are, but I'm also. I know, but I'm still implying that these are established characters in terms of Yondu and the Space Ravengers.
I agree. It was a bit of a shift, a big shift, but again, they give us like this 20-year gap where, who knows, for the first few years it could have been they dragged his ass along on thieving shit, and it wasn't until he was more grown that he was like, guys, we could be doing all this thieving shit and actually be helping people. Like, it may have taken time, but we don't know that because, like you said, they didn't show us that 20-year gap.
Mm-hmm.
But I do hope that Ego is the big bad for the big crossover of these multiversal heroes, because I'm curious to see what his actual plan for the end of the universe was going to be. We never got to really see it.
Oh, okay. So the other part too that really threw me off was the next part is the opening scene with older T'Challa grabbing the item that Peter Quill was stealing in the first movie, the orb thing.
Yeah.
And then the space police dudes or whatever, they come in and they're praising him.
Mm-hmm.
So
again,
it's
this
like
is a different. This is T'Challa he's like a Robin Hood figure in that universe now.
again, it's like, what the hell did they do to establish this? Like does the Ravengers' previous years as murderous cannibals totally get discounted because they've spent the next few years as good guys? I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that's how it works at all. I mean,
it does.
Okay, but this is a TV show that's supposed to be following established characters. I understand they want to. I understand they want to paint out the lines. I will give them. I give them leeway to paint outside the lines and provide some light-heart comedy like we got out of that space cop dude. Overacting like he did.
We get exposition about their past exploits through dialogue later when like they're having like, oh, and tell us about this story and tell us about this story, shit like that. Like, yes, you're right. They didn't give us any backstory in that moment, but it's literally like the third scene of the show.
Yeah. Well, I just couldn't look over.
They do a okay job at explaining like the fact that T'Challa and them have been doing this for a while and being good people for a while. Like, it is in there. It's just an exposition dialogue. Things. It's just I can't.
People that are incompetent.
Oh, I mean, they definitely do that, but I still think this stuff has been good. I've enjoyed everything that's come out.
I don't know how.
I mean, know how. I can't even say it's like the fanboy goggles because I can see the issues, but for me, the thing as a whole, like, I also love the background shit, like the visual gags, and like I love the comic book stuff as a whole. Like, it's enough for me to enjoy. I love this shit.
Yeah, but for me, it's like established characters that I love, and now they're getting ruined by people who don't know what they're doing.
But see, I disagree that they're being ruined. I still think they're doing fine. Like like what if aside, because what ifs are supposed to be weird.
Yeah, what ifs aside, yeah, I still don't like what's going on with characters that I've grown to like within the MCU.
Yeah, there is in general be handled better. Like Taskmaster.
Yeah, Taskmaster. I mean,
that's a decent character.
As good as Ragnarok, as fun as Ragnarok was, turning Thor into like this bro dude, like, I don't know, it's kind of, and then Fat Thor was just a very off-putting.
See, I enjoyed Fat Thor as an evolution of this like newer version of Thor. Like, I enjoyed it. I do hope that we get more Thor in Thor 4 more Thor,
Mm-hmm.
because I agree with you. I really did. I do miss the Thor from before. That's a lot of rhyming. I do
Yeah.
miss what Hemsworth's performance used to be, where it was still he was more humanized, but it
Yeah,
was
I
still
mean, I understand wanting to. There does have to be an evolution with Thor where he can't be, a stoic person. I mean, he was already he
yeah
was pretty egotistical in the first Thor movie, and that's why he was banished, of course. And
yeah.
so, like, kind of what we were getting, uh, I can't remember Thor 2 because I only saw it once and I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was all that great.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not
Um.
it's not great, and it's not. I don't think it's
Yeah.
terrible.
I understand there has to be an evolution, but it's like, why are you adapting storylines from comic books that failed? Like, why are you going to take these properties that already have like a stain on them and take the chance of, you know, trying to make it something somewhat better? And I'm referencing the upcoming Thor 4 with Lady Thor.
Mhm.
That whole run was a mess and a half for Marvel and the character Thor.
See, what I've enjoyed about the MCU over the course of this whole thing is like I enjoy adaptation. Like I don't really want a page for page remake of
No,
things. Like
I
I've already
wouldn't
read
either.
it, and so like I've enjoyed the way they've tried to adapt to comic storylines and try to make this own narrative of this, which we can now call the sacred timeline or whatever. Like I've enjoyed the way they've tried to incorporate other storylines into this new world, kind of like the way the Ultimates series did. And
Mm-hmm.
like there have been, even a fanboy like me can admit, there's been quite a few roadblocks and potholes. But I man, I just hope they can get back. Like I'm hoping this is all leading to something huge, like Secret Wars or something like that. Like
Yeah, but I mean, you get okay. So I hope it leads up to something cool, and I hope the final product of what we get is great. But why are you going to build a statue with the base of it being made out of pure garbage shit, and then you put the golden statue on top of it?
but see, I just can't get by with the whole garbage thing. Like I disagree entirely on that point. If it was garbage, it would be unwatchable, and I like
Do you
to an
have any desire to
unarguable
go?
degree.
Do you have
To
any desire or see yourself going back
Yeah,
and watching WandaVision?
I have seen the whole of WandaVision 3 separate times. Falcon and Winter Soldier twice only. I haven't done it, but yes, I enjoy rewatching those. I love WandaVision. I thought start to finish it was awesome. Falcon and Winter Soldier had moments I
Shit.
could. Yeah, it had moments like the whole Carly thing. I thought she was like I agree with you. Definitely was could have been written better, but there also is parts of that show that got cut and changed for a multitude of reasons. So, given what we got, it definitely could have been better. But yes, I fucking loved WandaVision. Start to finish, man, I was hooked on that show. Like, you can ask my dad. If he watched me watch it every single episode, we watched it together, and I was hooked like a 9-year-old on the edge of the seat.
Yeah, it started out good, and then like the last episode was just crap.
Um, what about
So I
speaking of Marvel though? What about Scarlett Johansson possibly hopping over to DC
oh god, I hope it happens.
just as an FU to Marvel, or are you hoping for something specific?
I mean, as an FU to Marvel, but also to continue any possibilities she might want to do in terms of comic book movies. I don't know. I'm sure she could keep doing, a few other decent budget movies here and there, but
Yeah.
oh God, I don't.
Can I just say though, like, if I was Scarlett Johansson, like, wouldn't you just say screw it and take a year or two? Like, you just got paid, as we know, thanks to Disney's kind of dig at it. You just got paid a minimum $20 million. Like, take a year, 2 years. He'll be
I'm
with his
sure. Oh,
family.
I'm sure she will.
Like,
Well, she's actually
there's no
pregnant now.
reason. Is she?
She's
Okay, we'll
pregnant.
see. That she's
She just
definitely
got,
taking a year.
yeah. She's definitely going to take a while. So maybe this will be her little outing now.
Right.
But
I'm hoping. Well, go ahead.
I was going to say I'm still in the camp that if somehow Black Widow was a success, she wouldn't have been harping about the 50 million.
Dude,
Regardless,
I see your point there, but I think if it would have been a major success and they still had done the shady shit with her contract, she would have been like, "Hey, I only made $100 million. This movie made, let's say, it made $1 billion. Like, I only made $100 million off this, and I was supposed to
I
make
think the
70
established bonus
million.
was just 50 million. It was an extra 50 million, though, wasn't it?
I see. I don't know about anything like that. Everything I heard said it was supposed to be a percentage of the theatrical release, and it was supposed to be an exclusive theatrical release, and they dodged her calls after they announced it was going to be on premiere as well. Like, that to me is as I understand it, the crux of the issue is that if they would have just answered the phone and been like, okay, let's cut the percentage up differently because we're doing streaming now, all of this could have been avoided.
I'm really surprised we didn't hear anything about it. Because they kept delaying Black Widow and everything and making excuses to why they weren't going to release it just yet.
Well, maybe
if
that's
all this
part
was,
of it.
I was going to say, if all this was happening behind the scenes, I'm really surprised not even somebody
Dude,
who knew somebody.
As big as Disney is, the amount of shit that people do know is probably only a fraction of what's actually going on backstage. Like, just talking Marvel alone, there was a alleged that said something along the lines of he was surprised at the small amount of things that have already been announced for Marvel's list as is, and there's already been like 20 things announced. He's like,
Oh
the
yeah,
amount of shit
because
that we have in the back pocket, and all of that is like hearsay and rumor about what that shit could be. So the amount of stuff that could be going on behind closed doors at Disney that we don't know about, such as trying to fuck over one of your biggest stars out of more money, like the amount of that happening is probably astronomical.
That, and they just had one of their other big star. Well, I guess can't call him a big star, but they just had the lead actor for Shang-Chi. They had him come out blasting Bob Chapek in Disney.
See, and I think that's a spun into a miscommunication. Reading his comment, I haven't heard. If there's audio of it, I haven't heard. But reading his comment, I think what he was saying was going back to and I'm paraphrasing, because what he had said was something along the lines of this experiment, we're looking forward to it or something like that. But I think what he meant was going to a strictly theatrical release, not the movie Shang-Chi, but releasing it theatrically only, as opposed to how they haven't been doing it since COVID. I think that's what he was talking about. So I think that I could be wrong. He could be just being a total douche, but I think that's what he meant.
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen too much into it though lately.
But if it's
the last I heard though, earlier today, I saw a couple headlines that said that the lead actor is legitimately angry with the Disney president, which is
because from his tweet, he's understanding it. Again, this is how it appears to me. But from his tweet, it seems like he's understanding it like the guy's calling the movie Shang-Chi the experiment, like their first movie with an all Asian cast, or nearly all Asian. But that's how I'm understanding is that he thinks it was a dig at the movie itself, and I think it was more a comment on the release strategy. I could be wrong. We may hear more in the coming days. Like, seeing how Disney's been firing back their actors, that dude may come out and be like, yeah, we were experimenting putting all you Asian people together. We've never, like, he could be a complete piece of shit. We don't know. Like, we'll find out, I guess.
I mean, there's also a small crowd of people who are really upset with they're trying to do with the story already because of how they butchered the Ten Rings and all that stuff with Iron Fist, and now they're trying to shove it into this and yada yada.
Well, I mean, it's we'll have to see when the movie comes out. It, like, from story trailers, I think it looks fine. Like, they're blending a few different stories together to make one.
Yeah,
Looks like it's gonna be fun.
We'll see.
The action in the trailers looks good, like choreography wise and shit. Like, I'm looking forward to that fight in the building with the scaffold and shit on the side. That looked cool.
Oh, yeah, we'll see. The actor just looks so uninterested. He's gonna have such a monotone, neutral face in every scene that's in the trailer. Like, I don't know. He doesn't
I
look.
haven't seen much of that dude in other things either. I just that one sitcom about the convenience store, Kim's Convenience, right?
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that.
I've seen a couple episodes of that, and he's in that. But other than that, I haven't seen anything he's done. So I don't know how good of an actor he is.
I have no idea either.
Hopefully, the action scenes are at least a highlight. Because again, I mean,
if the action is decent, I could almost ignore the story. But we'll see. Because I think
seeing how they explain this MacGuffin of the Ten Ring, because like visually they look cool as shit. Like, I'm digging the change of having them be the bracelet deals.
Oh yeah,
that looks cool. Like, I think I mentioned it on a previous episode, but there's a rumor I heard that it's supposed to be on the dragon's claws. Like, that's why the rings are so big.
Yeah, I remember you saying that last time.
Which, I mean, they put a dragon in the trailer. I mean, it doesn't look like Fin Fang Foom, but it could be.
I think.
I mean, he didn't look green.
Wasn't there another dragon named Fu Manchu?
Fu Manchu, yeah, but Fu Manchu and I think the original owners of the ring. But Fu Manchu was Fu Manchu I think was a dude. I think Fu Manchu was
okay.
I think he was Shang-Chi's he was his father. So they're like blending the Mandarin with the Fu Manchu character.
Well, I remember there's some underlying rumor that apparently they changed the name of Fu Manchu because they thought it was culturally inappropriate.
It's definitely racist. it's
not
the
racist.
Fu Manchu.
That could be somebody's name.
Fu Manchu is that stereotypical facial hair that they drew on him.
That derived from somebody named Fu Manchu, though.
Oh, I'm sure it does, but that is the stereotypical old wise Asian martial arts master haircut or facial hair, and they just called him that. Like, it's
not racist, though.
It's a little racist.
It's not even a little racist.
It's a little racist. It's
stereotypes are not racist. They wouldn't be stereotypes if it was, happening as frequently.
Poor Asian people and their tiny penises.
Well, that's racist.
No, it's a stereotype.
That's racist.
See, I can do that too.
Yeah, well, not wrong.
Yeah. Speaking of people getting mad about things and racists, you know the racist character in Red Dead Redemption? Like the one throwing out.
Which? I was going to say which one?
The one passing out pamphlets in Saint Denis. You ever encountered that guy in story mode?
I don't remember.
There's a dude. Well, there's people that kept posting videos of beating the shit out of this NPC
Of
online,
course.
and there was a sizable portion of the people that got mad about it, and it's like, you're racist is showing.
Well,
It's
I
like,
remember there was that debacle, and then there was also
beating the
the
feminists.
viral, yeah, beating up the feminists and like
Yeah, it was the same
hog
reaction,
tying.
but it was Nazis getting mad.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. It's like it's a game.
The-
What are you gonna do about it?
yeah, I mean that is the fun of the sandbox games is you can do whatever you want, no matter how ridiculous or violent or stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it is what it is. They're ones and zeros, hopefully. So like there's no
Hopefully,
there's no harm. They don't feel things, I hope. I
hopefully.
mean if they are sentient, then all of us are going to hell that have
It
ever
was
played one of those.
well. I mean, it's gonna happen. Everybody's gonna be joking around. Like there was the brief moment where me and a few friends when GTA 5 Online first came out, and we would dress very dapper, like 1930s, dapper gangster attire, and we would
Mhm.
get into like one of the old the Roosevelt vehicle,
Oh
and
god.
we'd get melee weapons like bats and clubs and whatnot, and just go hunt for fat people and call it Whale Wars.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a small thing to pass time and get a laugh.
Oh, it's terrible. Oh, I love it. That's kind of funny because like it's funny because they're fat. Fat people
Yeah.
we're the last minority you can openly mock and no one gives a shit. Like
No,
sure
no,
they're
no, no. Fat
shaming
shaming is a
people.
thing now.
It is, but no
Fat
one
shaming
gives a
is a thing.
shit. No one gives a shit. Like the only fat shaming is only a thing if you're female. And they like
Mm,
they'll back you up, but like us fat dudes, no one gives a shit. Like we're
it, it
bears or
depends.
whatever.
It depends where your political compass is. Because if you're
That
fat
is
and
true.
lean, if you're fat and lean a certain way, they'll come out and defend you. But if you're not preaching to their choir, then you're you're something. Because they can't call you fat. They can't call you fat names
Oh, of course not. Of course not. But like
unless.
I do kind of get it. Like we're the only minority that is self.
Well, that and being white.
Well, I mean, I didn't make myself white, but I made myself fat. I could not
Yeah,
be fat if I chose to. It's a
that is
lot
true.
harder to not be white if I chose not to be. But
Hey, you
it's
know
way
what?
easier to not be
If
fat.
Robert Dowdy could do it in Tropic Thunder,
All I would need was be 2-3 hours of makeup every morning, and I could be a different color.
oh
That's
man,
so hilarious to me. Like that's
it's a thing.
yeah. Like the people that tried to go back and shit on Tropic Thunder. It's like, nah, you were laughing when that came out.
Or
Don't try
or
to
people
pretend.
or people who just discovered it and
Hmm.
discovered, Robert Downey Jr.'s role in it. They're like, I cannot believe this was okay. It's like if you watch you watch past the trailer introduction and stuff. If you watch, I think it's like literally the first 10 minutes or whatever, like it makes sense. Like they're not just doing
Yeah,
it just cuz. And it's hilarious.
it's parody.
But
It's comedy.
but
Like,
like even if that same exact storyline were to happen today, like if they hadn't made that movie then they want to do it today, you couldn't do it.
no, not. And freaking Downey even said so on.
Mm,
You could do
yeah.
it today. Like, it just probably wouldn't go anywhere.
I was gonna say Jamie Foxx defended it too. He thought it was
Yeah,
hilarious.
I'm still waiting. He had a movie he was talking about that was something similar. Something about All Stars that he talked about again on Rogan, where it had like so and so playing a Mexican and so playing an Asian dude, and like it was different roles and shit, or race swapping and shit. And
Yeah.
if that's come out, I have no idea about it. but it sounded
I haven't
in the
heard
same.
anything
It
about
sounded in
it.
a similar vein. But like, dude, that's another good point we should talk about. Like the attack on comedy that's been happening in the past few years. Like, yeah, comedy's always had people, but like now with, I don't know if it's the internet that's made it so much more available.
It's absolutely the internet's fault.
It's gotta be, man. Like the internet gave people whose opinions shouldn't matter a really loud voice.
Mm-hmm.
And like, man, like as I love comedy, like, and I think comedy is the last pure art form where you get immediate feedback to whatever you're saying.
No,
And
absolutely.
the people that take it and take something either out of context or something that's just like it's a dude riffing, trying to be funny, saying stupid shit, outlandish shit to be funny, because that's the whole purpose of why you're up there grabbing that mic and saying shit is to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
And people that take it and they're just like, well, this is what he said and this is what he meant. He said it. And like, no. Why do you people not remember the concept of sarcasm and joking? Did that die when COVID, or not even COVID? Did that die when like Trump became president? Did this topic of comedy become, everything had to be serious?
The issue of comedy has been under attack for like a few years before Trump.
I know.
Like
I'm just
I'm
throwing
gonna
out a
say
year.
I'm gonna say around 2012 was when it really started kicking off. Because like I think entertainment and media, as dumb as it was at the time and still is, I think it peaked around 2006 2007.
Okay, so wait. So if it
I think
peaked
that's
there,
when we
what was
peaked.
the peak? What was the
Huh?
peak? If that's where it peaked, what was the peak? I'm curious.
Well, you just look at the
What do you-
comedy movies that were being released at the like, was it White Chicks? I know that was like maybe 2004 or something, but
that
we were
era.
still, yeah, we were still getting like raunchy comedies that you couldn't make today.
You could probably still make white chicks.
No,
Yeah, I think you could. You just need
nah.
like, I don't know. You just need a different pair of black dudes that are either brothers or look alike and are hilarious. Like they can even just look similar because they got the
Not.
prosthetics and shit on, but they got to have the right
I mean,
build for whoever they're mimicking. That's
I mean,
what I mean. Like they don't
yeah,
have to
but
look similar to
let's
each
say
other.
it wasn't even. Let's
They
say
gotta
it
look
wasn't even made in the first. Let's say it wasn't even made in the first place. Could you get away with making it today?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe. I don't
Again,
know.
doesn't matter which actors. You can have a couple black actors that are hilarious. Like you get again Kevin Hart's and everything, so we'll say Kevin Hart again. Like let's say you do Kevin Hart and I don't know, like
The Rock.
Idris Elba. No, not the Rock. Not the Rock. Because there's no way Rock is too massive to even pretend to pass for a female.
It
Idris
doesn't matter.
Elba-
It's how he feels. You can't tell him how he
Body.
identifies. You can't tell him how he identifies. Did you just misgender The Rock?
You're right.
You
You're
bigot.
right. I apologize.
You bigot.
Rock the Dwayne Johnson. Be whatever.
Your mic was cutting
Suggesting
out.
otherwise. I said, damn it, really? I thought I had a good line in there.
Well, if you had a good line, say it again.
Rock the Dwayne Johnson is buff enough to beat me into submission any other gender than mine. So I'm just gonna not misgender the Rock and just keep calling him the Rock as the Rock does.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't misgender him. I can't misgender the Rock if I only speak of the Rock as the Rock. Boom.
So you're just going to refer to him as an inanimate object?
Yes, I'm going to refer to the Rock as the Rock all the time, and that is how you know I've been down Jabroni Drive taking a nap in room 69 of the Heartbreak Hotel.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, baby.
No.
When do you think that people are going to stop calling him The Rock and he's just going to be Dwayne Johnson?
Never. Absolutely
Never?
never, ever. No. Nope. He's going to be The Rock forever. He's going to be
Like maybe
Dwayne The Rock
Hobbs and
Johnson. Huh?
maybe around Hobbs and Shaw 6.
I don't think he's ever going to be in a Fast and Furious movie ever again.
I didn't say Fast and Furious. I said Hobbs and Shaw.
That's Fast and Furious.
Yeah, but doesn't
Fast and Furious presents.
Yeah, it's true. I bet he could still try to spin that shit off into its own thing, though. I'm sure he's got some kind of thing.
I would laugh. I would absolutely laugh if he tried, though.
Actually, he seems to be really focused on the DC stuff. Like, from what the dirt sheets say, like he's actually trying to get in the boardroom meetings and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine so.
Right. Oh, we talked last episode and all the about. I mentioned they had Jeff Johns at one point as their head. There's a rumor going around that DC, or Warner Brothers, I should say, is looking for a quote-unquote Kevin Feige. And Warner Brothers, if you are one of the 7 people in our audience, can I make a suggestion? Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, either or both, would be amazing.
Perhaps.
Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, man, with what they did with the animated shit, if they could bring that level of give a damn to the movies, because like arguably those are probably 2 of the biggest DC dorks in all of Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And I say that with love. I love their work.
Like, the anime movies recently, they've kind of been taking a dip.
See, I haven't seen the last couple. I think the last was one of the Titans movies.
I don't remember what the last one I watched.
The last one that came out was the Long Halloween double feature.
Yeah. I think the last... Oh, the last one I watched was Batman Ninja or whatever it's called.
See, I haven't seen that. That was the animated one.
Yeah. I mean, I understand it was an alternate thing. I mean, the whole concept alone was ridiculous, but...
Was it? See, I haven't seen that one. I have long enjoyed the animation department of Warner Brothers putting out their almost shot-for-shot remakes of the comics. Like, I know a minute ago I was saying, like, I like adaptation for the movies, but I've also really enjoyed, like, their Superman Red Sun movie was awesome. And that's probably my favorite Elseworlds out of DC.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Dude, it's really, really good. Like, it's shot, again, it's almost shot for shot. Like, they change a couple little things just for, like, moving the story along's sake. Right. But it's so good. So good. The Under the Red Hood animated one they did a while back was really, really good.
I think Man of Tomorrow, I think, was like that, too, for Superman. That one's really good.
Man of Tomorrow was awesome. I'd love if they did animated versions of the Year One game, or Earth One. The Earth One storylines. Like, because those are really great. I've talked about those a lot. Like, I finished the 3rd one a while back when it, like, a few days after it dropped, the 3rd issue or whatever.
Right.
Storyline, the Two-Face one. And that was, they made some changes to the lore a couple times and took it in interesting directions that I was like, okay, that's different. I dig it. Like, I like that take. And I kind of like that, again, from what we've seen of Robert Pattinson's Batman, they might be taking some aspects of that. But I actually need to get back into comics. Like, what they're doing on DC's side, some of it looks interesting.
I have no interest in it. Nothing looks good. Manga's kicking their ass.
Yeah? So what's your manga going right now? That you're into?
I haven't been reading any of it. I just know that the sales are speaking for themselves.
Oh, okay.
In comparison of comic book stuff, like for Marvel and DC, oh god, I forget. There's a couple top sellers. Let me look it up right quick.
Like any of the top sellers that are being turned into.
Well, some of them were like already established, like animes and stuff, like One Piece. I think One
Gotcha.
Piece is finally wrapping up.
Is that one any decent? Any good? I've never
The
watched.
anime?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's really good. It's just long as hell.
Yeah. I keep seeing the
But
game in the Xbox Live store, and I keep thinking about it. Like the game looks interesting, but I've never actually seen the show.
oh, I haven't played any of the games.
Oh no, just one game. I'll send you the link because it looks interesting. I'll send you that if you like the show.
Oh, gotcha.
Maybe they need to make an abridged version, and then I'll get into it. That's what it
Demon
was.
Slayer. I was gonna say
I've
Demon
heard
Slayer
that
is
one.
really good. The anime for that is really good, and that was the one I think was in May. It outsold like the top 5 DC and Marvel comics combined.
Well,
Yeah.
see, I heard DC, and again, I haven't been keeping like close tabs, but like I heard DC just went through another reboot and like might have another one on the horizon. Like,
Oh Jesus
y'all
God.
need to chill. Like, if that's
Yeah,
what's actually happening, y'all need to chill.
yeah, well, I mean, they can't keep a coherent storyline like both
Yeah.
Marvel and DC.
Well, because they keep rebooting.
Yeah, and
If they
like
just stick to it and try shit out, quit rebooting your shit whenever sales start dipping, and just start writing your stories better.
but they're also attacking their fans who don't like their alternative stories that they keep pushing, like the young adult stuff, like Gotham High or I'm Not Starfire. Those are just those are like beyond bottom of the barrel trash, and nobody likes them. And then people from Twitter and low level employees at DC will attack people that don't like it. It's like, we'll quit writing garbage.
Yeah. Like,
no one wants to see a fat goth emo child of a superhero act like a titty baby.
well, I mean, maybe a fat goth comic reader, I guess.
Well, of course, because that's how they can self-insert themselves. And that, like, have you seen the writer?
I've seen the artwork. I have not seen the writer of the comic. But
Go
I'm assuming it looks similar to the character.
Oh yeah, and that's what a lot of them are doing these days. Like they keep hiring these no talent hacks who will self-insert themselves into these entertainment media forms, and then say it's like art or it's original. And then you see who's doing it, and you're like, that's why it's self-insert. They can't come up with original ideas, so they want to emphasize themselves in their character of what they think they are, their personality, and they want to insert it into this thing and call it original art.
Yeah, see, I'm not down with that all the way. Like, if you, it doesn't sound like that's what.
Yeah, it's just it's bad, and that's why they can't sell it on their own. They can't create an original character with that kind of personality and sell it because they know it won't sell, and that's why they're getting in at these publishers and stuff, and for the most part are blackmailing people to get into these parts. That's what mostly Comicsgate was all about, and I'm not going to get into that. It was a huge ordeal.
Ooh, we'll have to do that on a different episode then, because I want to hear about that.
Oh God,
you don't have to get into it now.
Yeah, no. I mean, essentially, it's activist writers who know little to nothing about characters they're getting control of, and they take their own personality and whatnot, and they're self-inserting it onto these established characters. Like the recent reveal of Tim Drake Robin being bisexual after 80 years.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about that. Excuse me. We talked about that before, about just doing it for no reason, and that's another instance. I think it didn't. If you wanted to, I'm sorry, you were going on you were about to go on.
No, that was pretty much it. That was my little rant about it. Is just these no talent people who don't know what they're working with will self-insert themselves because it's an established platform that they didn't have to work for,
Like,
and they're just riding the coattails of other people.
well, on the subject of the Tim Drake thing, like, here's what I'm going to say about that. DC, if they wanted to put a LGBTQ member of the Bat family up on the spotlight, Batwoman's right there.
Yep.
Kate Kane is right there. If you wanted to do it to a dude character, because it seems in pop culture people are more comfortable with female gay characters, but if you wanted to do it to a dude character because people seem to be uncomfortable with that and you want to push that boundary, I mean, you could have done that with Duke. He's a new enough character that we don't know a lot about his interest. I mean, he seems to be into Oracle, or not Oracle, Orphan Cassandra Cain, but I mean, bisexual is into both genders. If you wanted to do it, you could have had, boom, there is a minority and LGBTQ member. He's black and bisexual. Boom, you have two minorities in one, DC, because you love to package shit up.
You've hit the check boxes.
Yeah, but if you, instead of changing characters, if you wanted to bring a gay character into the spotlight, Kate Kane's right there, and she's a decent character when handled properly.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoyed the story. I read a decent chunk of it. The thing, what was it, Outlaws maybe, where Tim Drake's leading the team and Clayface is on it, and Clayface gets brainwashed or something like that, where he starts going nuts because he was doing so good, and Kate just blows his brains out. Like, that whole storyline of the moral decision that the Bat family, the moral line they walk, that whole storyline was great. And there's your lead gay character right there if you want to put one in the forefront. You didn't need to make a dude who arguably has never shown in the decades of his writing, has never shown a single hint of being anything other than heterosexual, which I'm not. We should say both heterosexual, at least I assume for you. I'm not going to speak for you.
Yeah.
But I mean, sure, you could say sexuality's a spectrum, but he's had zero hints throughout his decades of writing.
Well, the other thing too, the funnier part is too, from everything I've seen on it and from people who have been reading these issues or it's their job to pay attention, they were already establishing Tim Drake along with another female who were gonna, I forget her name.
It wasn't Stephanie, I'm guessing.
No, I think it was Stephanie something. I don't remember what her alter ego is.
He apparently had to break up. He broke up with Stephanie off screen or off panel in this whole issue.
Yeah.
It's like,
well,
okay.
the way they had it set up in a recent story arc was that those two were about to go off on their own little adventure. Like, Tim was, he was going to separate himself from Batman, like, not in a bad way or anything, just like he wanted to go be his own person. And it was kind of like wanting to build a life with Stephanie, or just see where it would go, maybe.
Was that before or after the Drake name change? Because I thought that was cool. Like, this costume, the new name, and then when they rebooted again, he's just back to being Robin.
I think it was after.
My favorite run of Tim Drake was his Red Robin run, the initial one where he's in the old school suit and shit. That whole series was freaking awesome. It was so well written. Where they definitely show you why. Like, at the end of it, Ra's al Ghul starts calling Tim detective. It's really, really, really good. Like, I love Tim Drake as a character, and this just felt unneeded, unnecessary.
It's completely unnecessary, and it's just pandering is all it is. And I don't know why they're trying to do that still with their abysmal sales. Because now,
I can get the attempt at bringing people in, but this isn't the way to do it. Again, if you want to put a gay character, you already have gay characters to use that you don't use.
Yeah. or you have new enough characters that you can flesh out that option for them.
Yeah, like
And
do it organically. Like I read this issue,
yeah,
it was not done organically. It
yeah,
felt very shoehorned.
yeah. And
Like
yeah, I mean, I understand wanting to introduce or catch new audience, but the ratio of bringing in new audience versus driving away old audience is the gap is gigantic.
yeah,
And it's the sales numbers. Like all you have to do is go and Google manga sales versus comic book sales, and that'll speak for itself. Independent, not even manga, independent comic books like Berserk
yeah.
and
Dark Horse and
Cyberfrog.
shit.
Yeah, or yeah, I mean,
Well, no,
Image
Dark Horse
Comics.
got bought by DC, didn't they? Or
I
Image
don't
got bought by
remember.
DC.
I don't remember. No,
Anyway,
Image is still Todd McFarlane. He
are
still
they?
owns it,
Okay,
I
cool.
think. I think so. But like, Spawn, for example, Spawn right now, it's going through another reboot, but it just sold like 500,000 copies.
Damn.
Yeah, and
That's
those are numbers.
that's a nice big
Those are
number.
numbers. Yeah, those are numbers that Marvel and DC could only dream of at this point because they are struggling. They're
So how long
struggling to
has
even
their comic sale dip been going on?
the dip. It's been going for like the last 7-8 years now.
See, I don't keep up. Like I have my, like I just that's how I read it.
You're gonna have
Like
to you're gonna have to repeat that part.
I have the Comixology app. I've had it for
Uh-huh.
years,
Yeah.
and like that's how I read my comics is almost exclusively digitally. So
Yeah.
like I have not kept up with how the sales and shit actually do for comics. Like admittedly, I have kind of gotten where I don't read as much as I used to read comics all the time,
Yeah.
and now I kind of read them occasionally, but I ingest more of the visual media
Yeah.
stuff. Like
Well, I
now
mean,
I
there's
watch
just not
more
a
of the
lot of good
shows and
stories to be had out of the
yeah,
newer stuff
like I
because
like
like
going back and rereading stories. Like
yeah, me
sometimes for the
too.
artwork. Like I
Well,
love
and
Alex Ross. Anything
oh
with
yeah,
Alex Ross's artwork, I'm sold. There is, as a matter
S-
of fact, I have the Comixology
Jim
thing on my
Lee.
tablet. Oh yeah. Oh
Hmm.
my God, Jim Lee. He's another one who I don't have. I don't do this with him, but I should. On my app, I have a couple comics that are downloaded almost all the time. And one of there's always that way I have something to read. And one of them always is something Alex Ross. Because even if I don't read it, I can just flip through and look at the beautiful paintings and just like I want so
Yeah.
much of Alex Ross's work just fucking in a frame in my eventual house. Like I think he is the best for my personal taste. I think he does the best artwork for comics out of anybody. Like when he dies and you never can do it again, I'm going to probably be very, very sad. I
Yeah.
love his art. Jim Lee is great in terms of doing comic book. Like Jim Lee's probably my favorite comic book style comic artist. Like his run on like Batman Superman
Yeah.
was incredible.
Oh yeah. Here,
So much good
I
art.
found the thing about Spawn. Yeah. King Spawn #1 sells nearly 500,000 copies. It's the biggest monthly title release in 25 years for the
Wow.
title. Yeah.
That's awesome. Good
Yeah.
for
And
Todd
it's
McFarlane.
dude, oh my god, bless that dude for not selling out. Like,
Right.
I mean, Spawn's had a rough, rocky going the last decade or so because of alternate stories or reboots and stuff, but for the most part, the stories, from what I've gathered, are really solid, and I haven't had much chance to read a lot of them. But I think it was 2017, he came out and said that He's been wanting to do a movie. He's already got the script written and everything. He's just got to find somebody to kind of help move it along and whatnot. And it sounds great because he says he wants it to be a horror movie type thing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Spawn is a very horror, creepy character, but
Yeah.
it.
Such a good character.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's a shame that he hasn't gotten the proper spotlight. But right now, as of I think it was like 2019, Spawn was like the comeback kid for Image Comics because they weren't doing all that hot, and they were on the verge of having to sell themselves.
Like, who are some other characters Image has though?
Image
Like
mostly
any
does a
noticeable
lot of
characters?
Image does a lot of kind of like cross media stuff. Like if you've got an established movie, they'll kind of
Do comics for it?
do comics and stuff.
Okay.
They've had some original stuff, but a lot of some of their recent stuff too has been pretty good.
Nice.
They don't do a whole lot of like traditional style comic books, but
Does Todd McFarlane direct much things or write like wise TV shows ever? He do comics.
no, not a whole lot. No, he's just doing
No.
comics. I
Because like
forget.
I really enjoyed his work on Spider-Man, like his old stuff for Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
Like the old
yeah,
Ben
he's
Riley
great.
shit.
I think
So,
The
like,
Walking Dead. I think The Walking Dead is Image Comics.
Is it?
Yeah.
No shit. Well, that would probably mean Invincible's probably Image Comics too. Then
I believe so. Yeah.
that's that's another one I can't. That to come out. Like, there's supposed to be a movie too, and Kirkman said like there's efforts being made to make sure the movie feels different than the comics and the cartoon. Like, you've seen Invincible, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that show. I loved that comic.
Yeah.
When they said they were making into a show, I was like, no shit.
Oh yeah.
When and where and how much do I pay? Take my money.
Yeah.
So excited. And then what we got was so good. Like, the animation was crisp as shit. Like, it was just this more linear version of the story. Like, if you haven't seen Invincible and you like violent cartoons and superhero, like the whole, without being too spoilery, I know it's been out for a little while. Without being too spoilery, the first episode is this nice, like, old school throwback superhero episode of like the kid getting his powers and learning about his dad and shit like that. And then if you just wait, they show the credits and it's a tease, and you just wait, and then the show shows you what it really is, and it's such a great moment. I showed it to my dad. Like, I watched it first, right? And so I knew what was coming, like, from reading the comics, and then watching it, how they structured it with the post-credit scene. And so I had my dad watch it, and his reaction was my favorite thing, because his eyes got wide, and he's watching it like, what in the hell is this shit? And then, like, as things start, like, all he's going is going, damn, what? Okay. Yeah. Like, it was great. Like, Robert Kirkman, I hope he takes good care of his health. I want him to keep doing wonderful things like Invincible and Walking Dead's. It can eventually die, but I need more Invincible and other things of that nature.
There was a Image Comics I picked up just based off kind of the cover art, and then it's got like the plot summary on the back of it. I forgot what it's called. Chew. Chew.
Okay.
And it was it was about a detective named Tony Chu, and the world it's set in. If I remember, I remember because it's kind of what got me into it, just because it was so absurd. Essentially, all chicken and like bird meats are illegal to sell after a huge outbreak of the bird flu that killed like 20-something million people in the U.S. Um, so uh, Tony Chu, he's got this ability um, that he works in the U.S. FDA or whatever, and I forgot what it was. It's similar to that one zombie show where she could eat the brains and kind of like get knowledge
Oh,
and
I
take
Zombie.
on. Yeah, iZombie. Um,
I used to watch that. Like
yeah,
after like third season, I think I
yeah.
fell out there.
Um, I think like so he's not a zombie, but he can essentially take a bite of whatever body part or whatever, and he starts gaining knowledge like that, you know. But I forgot
Convenient.
what. Yeah. Um. God, I can't remember. Let me go
Like
to the
not even the
Wikipedia.
brain straight up. He has to like he can
No.
bite your toe.
Yeah, he can bite your toe or whatever. Um. I think
That's silly.
because yeah, because I think like one of the first issue or whatever, he goes to like talk to some cook that was involved in some crazy thing, and before he can talk to him, the cook kills himself.
Jesus.
And so Chu takes a piece of the tongue and bites it to find out the names of some of the other people this cook had killed, apparently, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's doing this in secret, and then his boss finds out he's been doing this to solve crimes, and then he gets fired. Because, of course.
Yeah.
But no, the series, from what I've heard, is was pretty good. I think it's kind of I think it started in like 2010. Let me see.
You know, there was one I read a few issues of, and then I didn't buy the next ones, not for any reason against the comic. I just didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But it was called Animosity. It came out 2016 from Aftershock Comics. I brought it up in my Comixology thing, but it was the story about. Have you seen anything about the TV show Zoo, where the
No, I
animals
have
get
not.
smart? Okay, that's a whole different thing. But it's basically the animals got smarter, like they started thinking, and then just turned on people. And the story followed a girl and her dog, like a basset hound or some shit, and trying to get out of New York City and to
Huh.
California. It's really neat. Like the concept, like the dog's he's her dog, she's his human, and he's like, nah, I like everybody kind of going crazy, but I'm sticking with you.
Yeah.
It's really neat.
Okay. I was just going to back and clarify. So Tony Chu's ability is called Cibopath, spelled Cibopath, and it's the ability to psychically facilitate perception and or communication via tasting, eating, and or drinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least they gave it a lore friendly name.
Yeah. Cibopathy.
Wow, that's a thing. God bless comic books. Comic books are so weird, man.
I mean, when you've got something somewhat original that's off like that,
Yeah,
and it works. Like, and there was another one that I have been meaning to get into for several years. I never did. Was Cowboy Ninja Viking.
that sounds incredible.
Do you not know about it?
I do not know about it.
Oh my god! So I discovered it shortly before a movie project was announced, like 2015, I think it was, with Chris
So
Pratt
wait, so
attached
there's
to it.
also going to be a movie about this,
I don't know.
or
I don't know where
was?
it's. I haven't heard anything about it in years.
Okay, okay, continue. Sorry.
But so okay, so the setting, which I can explain a little bit easier, it's ridiculous. So Cowboy Ninja Viking focuses on this character who was part of a science project, government contracted project, where they were trying to build essentially like elite warriors of some sort or whatever, or they're something like that.
Okay,
And so
Super Soldier
essentially,
Project, something.
It's something like that. And essentially, most of the major characters, including the main character, they all take on three different personalities of different characteristic roles. So the main character, he's taken on the characteristics of a cowboy, a ninja, and a Viking.
Awesome.
And I think Cowboy Ninja Viking was also another Image Comics release. um, I think let's see. Oh yeah, came out 2009, ran for a few years. Um, oh yeah, so the series revolves around a counterintelligence unit of multiple personality disorder patients who are transformed into agents known as triplets, referring to three different personalities inside their minds. It is hinted that it is possible through experimental psychiatric conditioning and treatment, psychotropic drugs, and past life regression therapy. After the unit falls apart, its various members are turned into hired killers. Duncan, a triplet who channels the skills of a cowboy, ninja, and a Viking, is sent to find and stop the rogue triplets. And so, like I said, all these different other triplets and stuff, they've got, I think, Duncan's brother was part of it, and he had Army Staff Sergeant, Apache Indian, and a Scottish Highlander.
Nice.
There was one that had like some dumb shit. Oh, here, let me find the list. Okay. Yeah. So there's one guy who's hairstylist, conquistador, and cowboy killed in the first issue.
Okay, so wait. So this whole series is full of people made where they summon the powers or whatever of three different things.
The personality archetypes of these type of people. So like essentially you take like the expertise of somebody in a field of something and then you apply that knowledge to this person with like, um expected characteristics,
Okay.
So, there's another guy, he's a conquistador, green beret, and a surfer.
Yeah, that's so goofy. I love it.
Yeah, it was a goofy comic, but it did well. It did great. Um, it didn't run too long, but they were wanting to make a movie out of it with Chris Pratt as the lead character.
Of course, it's Chris Pratt. He's in everything. You know what would be
I
an
mean,
interesting one? Blanking on like what all happened, but there was a one called a bottle of awesome, where like this kid would drink from this bottle of awesome soda, and it would give him like superpowers and shit.
oh
Like
yeah,
that would probably be a fun like, probably like made for young teens superhero show. That'd be interesting.
young adults, yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, because that like I remember the artwork was really neat. Like it was not cell shaded, but kind of cell shaded.
And can I had
But
that
it made
somewhat artwork of it?
yeah, it made me think of like Danny Phantom kind of look,
Yeah.
kind of thing, but in comic book form.
Oh, gotcha.
Or no, not Danny Phantom. Like some of the art or something. Like you know what I mean? Like it had that blocky-ish, like exaggerated reality kind of. It was neat. I liked the artwork. Hold on, I want to go look at some now. Hold on, let's see if my memory's up to snuff.
Oh yeah, I think Image Comics is owned by DC.
Are they?
But I think there's some sort of separation. I don't remember.
See, I remember DC had bought Dark Horse because they got a hold of like Grifter and shit.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure if Image was part of that or not. I don't know, man. They buy up everything. Warner Brothers likes to own everything.
Well, yeah.
Who do you think in the long run is going to win, Disney or Warner Brothers? Who's going to buy Netflix? Or who's Netflix
Disney.
going to buy?
Disney's more. Well, I don't know. Disney's like losing their shit pretty quick.
Can you imagine if Netflix bought like Warner Brothers?
Um,
Like it
I
it
don't.
would never happen. But
I
can you
don't.
imagine?
God.
Like these motherfuckers used to sell. They used to send you DVDs in the, and now they're one of the biggest conglomerates of visual entertainment in the world. They have a
Yeah, I was gonna say
station
because
on
right now
Sirius XM,
Warner Media is owned by AT&T.
right? See, like,
So
dude,
and AT&T is starting to sell off a bunch of their lower end properties.
can you imagine if Netflix got a hold of media, and so Netflix had all DC shit, and then Disney Plus has all the Marvel shit, and we have that fight.
I would be excited for that, like maybe 5+ years ago.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff that Netflix is trying to put out is just been poop. I don't. It
Like, I
seems
hope
like there
we
was
don't
some.
have that. I should say I don't. I hope that does not happen. Like what HBO Max is doing with their DC properties and things.
Mm-hmm.
But just throwing out a high possibility. You know, an alternate universe in this what if scenario. Just to tie it all back in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's all. That's all I had to say.
And I was just thinking because like at some point around 2014, 2015, somebody drew a line and told all these people act as completely retarded as possible and make content nobody but a small vocal minority on Twitter will like. And so like you had some decent and Netflix started setting a trend for themselves where they would debut a new original show first season or two would be great, and then if the second season didn't crap itself, the third season was absolute garbage.
Or they cancel shit out of the blue, like Jupiter
Oh
Ascending or Jupiter's
yeah,
Legacy. Excuse me.
yeah.
That that show was great. I really enjoyed it.
Um,
I know it had issues, I'm sure,
yeah.
but I enjoyed the shit out of that. It made me go and buy the comics. When season one was over, I went and bought them and read them.
There was oh uh Altered Carbon. The first season was great. Second season was crap.
It was meh.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
still
Yeah. It was meh. Yeah.
it was still decent, but it was not as good as the first season. That
Dude,
dude,
it made
whatever
me
his
miss
name,
Joel Kinnaman. It made me miss Joel
Kinnaman.
Kinnaman.
I wanted to
And
call
he
him
was
Edgington.
and he played he played Rick Flag in the Suicide
Yeah,
Squad.
he did really good in that first season.
He was so great in the first season. I was like,
It was.
I love this dude. It doesn't feel like a Blade Runner ripoff.
Even the dude that came, like his original body, the Asian fella, whose name I
Yeah.
don't remember, like that dude did great.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Mackie did, like he was the
I
only, and I love Anthony Mackie. I think he's
he,
great, but
it's
he did
so
not do good.
weird that Anthony Mackie himself is a solid actor, but he keeps getting tossed with poop projects.
He didn't even seem like he was trying to mimic what. He just seemed like he was doing something totally different.
I
Which,
don't know what
okay,
he was.
but it
I don't
wasn't a
know what
good
they did.
thing.
I don't know what they told him to do. I don't know.
Like he had the same, like to the credit, the writing was similar in terms of the way he talked, to where he had the same kind of quips, he had the same kind of mannerisms, but it was Mackey's performance of it just felt like so it didn't feel like the same character. Whereas in the first season, he bounced around a couple different sleeves, and the actors portrayed the
He
same
still,
dude.
yeah, he still maintained like the same characteristics and mannerisms.
Yeah, and Mackie there's something about his performance where he does some of it great, but like the rest of it kind of took you out. Where it was like, all right, Mackie, you're just being Mackie now.
It doesn't help that before that, along with Netflix, he was in that episode of Black Mirror that was just so stupid. Like,
Dude, that episode was hilarious. My favorite thing about that is suggesting it to people that I know don't watch Black Mirror. That is my favorite thing to use that for, because they get
you've never
sucked
seen the
in.
show? Watch this episode.
Oh, dude, hell yeah! Striking Vipers is a really good episode for you to start. And then I get text messages like, "What is this gay shit?" And it's like, it's awesome. Watch it.
No, it's not.
Next, you should go watch White Christmas and make your
White Christmas.
It's the John Hamm in the cabin episode.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's my favorite episode.
I don't remember that one all too much.
Oh, it's so good. Bandersnatch is actually phenomenal as well. If you have time, the movie.
It was okay. I mean, it was an interesting experience because for the listeners. I was just gonna say, to clarify for the listeners, if you've never seen Black Mirror, it's essentially like the Twilight Zone with more of a tech focus.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's more electronics and tech focused.
The possible dark side of where our technological advanced future could be.
Yeah. And like I think it was like the second season. There was one episode that was like my absolute favorite at the time, and it's still one of my favorites. Where it was the lady got kidnapped, and when she figured out, how to get out of the house or whatever, there was bystanders that just kept following her with their phones.
Where the town was a jail.
Yes, the town was like an entertainment park / jail.
Yeah,
and so
that one seemed really possible.
Oh, it's played on like events that had already happened in real life, where I forgot what it was called. It's that bystander syndrome where you're seeing an event unfold, but you don't go and get help or whatever. You don't intervene, or you're just watching it unfold.
Well, I mean, the episode you're talking about, the woman that's running away, like she's a criminal, and that's her punishment.
Yeah, I was gonna say essentially that was the whole thing, and so you don't.
I forget what the episode's called.
I shouldn't have even spoiled it. I shouldn't even said anything, but spoiler.
This show is always should just always.
You know what? Never mind. The series has been out for a while. It's been out for a while, so boohoo.
Yeah, it's like only a tiny apology if you haven't seen it yet, because the show is so good. But if you haven't seen it yet and you're griping about it,
it was called White
why
Bear.
have you not seen it yet?
Yeah.
Like, that's the real question here. Not why would we spoil it. Why have you not seen it?
Maybe too many people.
Black Mirror is great. Haven't heard of Black Mirror?
No.
Black Mirror.
Nobody's really talking about it, so it's kind of understandable.
Well, I mean, because it hadn't been around for a while, but we only didn't get another season of Black Mirror because COVID made everybody depressed as it was.
Well, before that, the last season, they had the gall to put out 3 episodes and call that a season.
Was it only 3 episodes?
Yeah, season 5 was Striking Vipers, Smithereens, and Rachel, Jack, and Ashley too. That was the one with Miley Cyrus. No, that was it. Season 5 was just 3 episodes.
Wow. See, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
What was the middle one? Striking Vipers, the Miley Cyrus one, which one?
Smithereens.
What was Smithereens?
That was the one where it was set in London, and the black guy took like an Uber or whatever, and then he ignites like an international crisis after he kidnaps a dude or something from a social media company and holds him
Oh wait,
hostage in the
right,
car.
right, right. It's the dude from Sherlock, right?
I think
It's
so.
that one,
I
the
think
Moriarty guy, whose name I cannot recall.
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
essentially like a
Whole
big
thing
hot
takes
shot.
place in the car.
Yeah, yeah,
Topher Grace is the hot shot.
I think so.
Dude, speaking of Topher Grace, small tidbit. Can you imagine if he's one of the previous Spidey cameos that we get in, no,
In what?
in No Way Home for the new Spider-Man?
I
If
would
we get
laugh.
Topher Grace's Eddie Brock somehow,
I would laugh.
that would be hilarious. Marvel doesn't have the balls. You don't have the balls, Marvel. They
They
probably
don't.
do.
They don't have the intellect to think of such a funny thing to do, though.
Like, I don't want him to be like the most important thing, but I want it as much as I want Deadpool to make slight references to them as well. Like more
Yeah.
so than he should. Like there was one because the internet ships Spidey and Deadpool. Like there was one that said they want Deadpool to make like a joke about his boyfriend Parker. It was a play on Peter Parker or something like that. I was like, that's kind of funny because he's always jokingly flirting with Spider-Man in the comics and shit.
Mm.
I'm really hoping they don't fuck Deadpool up.
I don't know.
I have hoped Ryan Reynolds has a tight enough grip to keep it Deadpool because I think he's the big driving force that made the other two as good as they were. I don't know how big a hand in the writing he had, so I don't like it. May be all of it, it may be none of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping it does well. Have you seen Free Guy yet?
Not yet.
Like it just came out.
I heard it was decent.
Do we know if it's supposed to come to a specific streaming platform? Like HBO Max or Disney? I imagine Disney, right? Because it's a Fox property, or it was a Fox property.
I don't know.
Watch them bastards release it on Hulu.
Oh god, that'd be hilarious.
I have Hulu, so it's cool, but I get to watch it either way. What? Speaking of spoilers,
it's got a 95% of audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Very nice, especially because it's theatrical only. That's impressive. Actually, wait till it gets home viewing. That score will probably drop a little bit just because toxic people exist.
Oh, I mean, that's the only. If somebody's going to throw me a Rotten Tomatoes score, I'm only going to judge it by the audience for the most part, or like as a decent gauge,
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I do love that since we were joking so much, that Ryan Reynolds spoiled like several big cameos like the day of or next day in an Instagram post. Like I won't say who in case you or anybody else that's listening hasn't seen the post or the movie, but I saw his post and he made some fucking phone calls. Like if you haven't seen the post and you want to, I'll send it to you. But he made some phone calls for this movie and got some pretty big cameos.
That's funny.
In terms of like if they actually had to pay these people for even 10 seconds of screen time, that's where most of the budget went, not the CGI.
It's got a 7.6 on IMDb, so I think that's probably the most fair gauge. So yeah, it's probably decent. It's probably a good time.
Probably. Do you want me to send you that post real quick?
If you want to.
Okay. But yeah, it looks good. Like I love the gag and the clip they did of buff Ryan Reynolds as Dude.
Oh my god.
The villain for Guy.
They implemented that character into Fortnite.
They really
They did, and
That's
I
great.
yeah, and I had heard that they did that, and I remember I had jumped on to play a game or two, and I think I sent y'all. I think I sent you and the guys a clip of where I found like an ATM or something like that,
Yeah,
and
yeah, and
it.
Ryan Reynolds popped up.
Yeah, I found a few of those already, and I thought it was pretty funny.
Like, so okay, I gotta ask you. We've talked a lot. Um, you've recently gotten. I don't know. I don't know if I should say back into Fortnite or gotten into Fortnite. You've recently got into it a lot. It seems like what is it? What is drawing you to Fortnite? Because I've never gotten it. Like I've never cared for Fortnite.
So, what got me back into it a couple months ago, or a few months ago actually, and I haven't played it regularly. I mean, I was on it for a hot minute, playing it, a lot straight with a few friends, and that was
Mhm.
mainly it. Like, I met some cool people that were YouTube streamers. They were streaming it, and you take a bogus game that's just not fun anymore by yourself, and then you find people you click with. It gets fun, so that's how I got back into it. So
No, okay. Yeah, I never was able to get into. Can't. I'm. I don't know if it's like I'm too stupid or what, but I have trouble with the building and fighting at the same time, and so
I
I
don't
just
even
get
bother with
murdered.
it. I
I
don't
just
even
get
bother with
murdered
it.
trying to just fight these people.
It's not as bad as it used to be. I'll say that.
Okay. Tell
And
you
that's
what,
what really surprised me.
I'll
There's
give it
not
a
a bunch of
shot, and
sweaties.
I'll join to play with you and see how it
Yeah.
goes with you. Like not
It,
soon, but maybe.
oh, well, I
Because
mean, it's
like
free to download, so.
well, I have it downloaded. My
Oh, okay.
reason, but my reason is different. I have it for the same reason I had the PlayStation. Like when I started seeing they had like these weird ass exclusive things going on, like movies playing in Fortnite and shit during the pandemic, I
Oh,
downloaded it
yeah,
to
yeah,
check
yeah.
some of that out. Like Travis Scott had a concert. I don't give a shit about Travis Scott's music, but it would have been cool to see that.
I don't like the idea of Fortnite as is, because it's just, ugh, I don't know. Like, playing Fortnite is like one of those things you don't openly admit. Kind of like,
In
somebody
that case, I'm
who.
sorry to call you out on our
No,
broadcast.
no, 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 no. I mean, I've told a few people, like, close friends, that while I was playing it, I just told them,
It's your
it's like
dirty, dirty secret.
I,
I play
I just
Fortnite.
like I was like, I found some cool people and we were playing it, and it was just casual fun. I was enjoying my time playing it, and it's not as ridiculous as it used to be. But it's like the atmosphere, what it is, and like everything that they've done. Like, there's a generation right now that have been introduced to Master Chief from Halo through Fortnite.
Fortnite.
They've never played Halo, so they see this green soldier dude, and then you got Halo Infinite ready to come out, and some guys be like, "Hey, how are you liking Halo Infinite?" Oh, it's great. It's weird that this Fortnite guy's in it though. Or
Well,
I'm glad that Fortnite dude got his own spin-off game.
well, and what about the positive of that? Of like these kids see these characters in there, and I think the kids are intelligent enough to know that Fortnite's using characters from all different IPs and stuff. Like
Oh
they know
yeah, I'm
that
sure.
Batman and shit didn't originate in Fortnite and stuff. And so what
Well,
if like
to some
they see
extent,
to some
y-
extent yes, but what if like they see the Halo character for instance and see Halo Infinite coming out. I liked that character in Fortnite. He's like I'm curious to see
I
what
I
the
I
game
want
that's
to
based
I want
that
to
in is.
explore more about them. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean there
you
is
can gain
there
new
is
fans
that
doing that.
aspect. There is that aspect of it which I am not opposed to. It's just the dark path that it could lead to, of expectations that would somehow overcome the established lore. And
Mhm.
so it's like, no, we gotta have Master Chief go back to Fortnite world in Halo. We gotta have the battle royale in Halo Infinite.
Oh, dude, you know they're gonna have one.
I don't know.
You,
I don't know if they are. I don't think so.
I bet you cash money, $10.
Okay,
Putting
I'll
the
bet you
bet
20.
right now.
I'll bet you
All right,
20.
$20
I'll bet you.
that within the first year of
Oh
its
God.
release,
Okay.
within the
Well.
first year of its release, fine, 6 months. Within the first 6 months of its release, they will put out a battle royale mode.
Okay.
I think it'll be within the year. I think it may take them a little longer than 6 months, but I'll put it at 6 months. When does it come
Nah,
out?
okay. Later this year. There's not a set date, but December-ish. It
Okay,
will in
so
December. If it doesn't get delayed again, we'll just say. Oh God, this is dangerous now. Actually, and I think about it, I'll stick with a bet. I'm gonna stick with a bet, but it's dangerous because then they could delay it and
it's
then say,
$20.
"I don't
No.
care. I don't
I'm
care."
saying that 6 months within the release date, the day the game drops. I think it would
I
take
was,
longer than six
I
months.
was, I was ready to bet that on release that it's not going to come with battle royale, but
Well, I don't know. I haven't looked at the game, so it probably doesn't come with it at. But I would be willing to bet within the year at least that they drop a battle royale mode, if
nah,
not the first
they
like
didn't.
6 months.
They didn't do it with Halo 5,
You're right, they didn't, but they might.
but they had a great multiplayer for Halo 5 though. The Warzone thing was really great, so I'm sure they'll kind of do that again.
What was that?
It's you in a squad of Spartans versus AI enemies, and you had to progress through like harder tiers of difficulty of fighting like harder enemies and stuff, and it was really fun.
That sounds neat.
I forgot what the other PvE player versus environment. I forgot what that mode was called.
Speaking of, isn't Halo Infinite supposed to come on Game Pass day one as well? Like, isn't that one of their day one drops?
Yep. Every Microsoft first party game is Game Pass.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think it's a great deal. I'm looking forward to it. The multiplayer that the beta that they released was well received. It looked great. It's got some new
Do you get to
features.
play it?
No, I didn't get to play it. I didn't get selected for the
Bummer.
flight thing. Yeah, because they were
Oh,
their requirements apparently. And it seemed like it was kind of random that who they were selecting, because their criteria was they wanted to test like how it played on different consoles and PC settings.
mhm.
And so there was a few
You just
people.
didn't match the criteria, I guess.
You had to, I guess so. I mean, you had to be a Halo insider, which I am, but I don't know. It seemed like not a whole lot of people got selected for it.
Speaking of
But
insiders, I'm actually part of the Sea of Thieves insider program.
inside the hole.
Well, no, like it's a whole different version of the game with like pre-release feature. Like I genuinely can't say much about like what I see on there because I actually signed an NDA. But
You can say it.
well, I can't. I actually can't. Otherwise, I could. If this gets heard, I can lose privileges.
What are they going to do?
Take away
What
my insider
privileges do you have?
privileges.
What
I get to play
what
the
insider
insider build.
privileges?
The as vague as I can put it, the insider build lets you get to play with stuff that hasn't released in the main game yet, and give feedback on it, and you get prizes for playing on the insider build. Like
Such a dummy.
you'll have to look into it
You're
yourself.
such a dummy. You're going to sit there and pretend that people aren't spouting about it.
Well, they do, but they also lose their privileges.
Do they though?
I'm sure they do.
I don't know. You don't know that apparently.
No, I'm not that high on the totem pole of insiders. I'm the schmuck that doesn't play hardly ever. I was trying to get specific. I was trying to get special sales and shit, and like you. Yeah, but that was back when I was actually playing.
Yeah.
You have to play at least once a week. Like there's a certain period, like amount of time you have to play to get the rewards and shit. So I would play for a day and do my stuff and check out
Count
stuff.
that as a week.
Well, no, you have to play a certain amount of hours a day. So I would just play for it and play on that build, and then go play on the regular one. Because then I didn't have to I didn't want to jump in for an hour or so every day. So I just play for, I think it was like 2-3 hours of playtime. I was like, I'd be doing that anyway, so I'll just play it on this.
Gotcha. Well,
it was neat.
I wouldn't know. I was not a part of it.
Yeah, you should look into it. It's fun. If you even see if these. I mean, they've got that. They're being.
I mean, I was playing again for a hot minute not too long ago, but
that was mainly because.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, that's what I was playing.
See, I haven't touched that yet. How is it?
I didn't get too far into it.
No? Well, shit, we'll have to add that to the list of... We gotta get all 4 of us on to do that.
Yeah, we can do that.
That sounds fun.
Well, I guess we could wrap this shit up finally.
I think we should. I think that's about all.
I think we've gone long enough, right?
Yeah, this is probably, 2.5, 3 hours? Damn.
Oh, easily. I'm gonna guess over 3 hours. I don't know.
Jesus, who do we think we are? Joe Rogan? Yeah, we definitely need to set up tabs of that shit.
You ever tried DMT?
I haven't actually, but
well, heck, there goes that then. All right, I guess we can
maybe.
Cut it there. All right, well, I guess we'll plug our crap now.
All right, you can follow me on Wrestling Nerd.
You're gonna have to repeat that. You cut out.
Oh, well, that's fitting. If you want to follow, you can follow me on Instagram at. Tell me it didn't cut out again.
It cut out.
Josh, you tell yours.
You can follow Albert on social medias where he is. Instagram, not Twitter, at pro_wrestling_nerd.
Pro Wrestling Nerd.
Pro Wrestling Nerd. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter at JSZ Barber. And that's it.
Poptards, episode 3. What up?
All right.